Hey guys, Mr. Burrow here. Just wanted to go over how to divide these fractions again before you do today's Kahoot. I think we're pretty close to getting it. I just wanted to give you some instructions so it's going to help you to get some of those Kahoot right questions. So some of those Kahoot questions right today, especially toward the end of the Kahoot. So let's talk about this. So let's take a look first at 3/5. So we can read that as 3 being divided by 5. So the key is we got to write that, we got to get that written in the correct way first. So I like to think of this whenever I think of a fraction like this and turning it into a division problem. I like to think of it as a tree that's falling in this direction. And you can see at the top of the tree is the 3. So the 3 is going to fall away, farther away from the 5. So as it falls, the 5 is still here, and the 3 is inside our division bracket. So that's the way it's always going to be. We're going to set it up that way. We got to make sure that when we have a fraction, the top number is inside the division bracket because that's what's being divided by the bottom number. Now, this is where I've seen some of us start to make some mistakes. The first thing, before we even start doing our dividing, is let's put our decimal point in there. That's super important. And then we want to make sure that we add 3 zeros, if you remember, and 3 zeros because we want to be able to carry it out to the thousandths place in order for us to make sure that we can get enough decimal places so that we can move it to become a percent. So now we have our division set up. Let's go ahead and start our dividing. Now, I know, Alexis, you like to do it the long way. So I'm going to show, actually, you like to do it the traditional way where you like to have everything just kind of down in that direction. But I'm going to break it up first and show everybody how to do the other way. So first, let's think about 5 into that 3. 5. So before we even start dividing, I'm going to start to break this problem up into our 5 into all the numbers that are inside the division bracket. We can see 5 into 3.000, 5 into 3, 5 into 0, 5 into 0, 5 into 0. Now let's start dividing. So we know that it goes into 3 0 times. If we have 0 5s, we have 0. We got to do our subtraction. Remember, our leftover goes to the next problem. 5 into 30 is 6 times. And that's exactly 30. So we put our 30 down there. 6 5s is 30. We subtract 0. We have 0 left over. Well, 5 goes into 0 times. We have 0 5s. We subtract. We get 0. So we can see we're just going to keep having 0. 5 goes into 0 times. We subtract. Nothing left over. So our answer is right there. So we're going to start from the end, 0, and we're going to put our answer above this in our original problem, 0. That's where the 6 goes, 0. Decimal point always goes straight to the top. So I'm going to then, now that we have a decimal, let's write our decimal over here. That's our first step. So we've calculated this fraction to a decimal. Now we got to change it to a percent. This is where we got to remember that we move it decimal to percent, and I'll write this right here, D to P. We go to the right 2 places. 1, 2. And so our answer becomes 60. We can say 0.0. We don't have to. We could just say 60. I'll write 0.0. And we got to remember to put our percent sign. So there we go, 60%. Let's take a look at the 5 9ths below. So again, that decimal is going to fall into the division problem. The top number needs to go inside, just like that right there. Now, don't start dividing. What we've got to do now is put our decimal point, add our 3 zeros. Now we can start dividing. And we're going to break that up into our separate division problems. 9 into 5, 9 into 0, 9 into 0, and 9 into 0. 9 goes into 5, 0 times. We have 0 nines, we have 0. So we do our subtraction. Oh, sorry. Put the wrong number there, it's 5. So that 5's got to now carry over. Let me fix that so it's a little more clear. 5. 9 into 50 goes in 5 times, which is 45. We subtract, we get a 5. Oh, looks like we get a 50 again, which we just talked about over in this problem right there. 9 goes into 50 5 times, which is, again, another 45. So we're starting to see something happen here. We talked about this the other day too. We're starting to see that it's just going to repeat itself. It's a repeating pattern, which is why we talked about, that's another reason why we end this after we do it to the thousandths place, because if we tried to continue to do this division right here, we would just carry on these 5s forever and we would never finish the problem. So sometimes we get these nice decimals right here that end. Other times we get these ones that don't end, those repeating decimals we talked about. So now I'm going to take these answers, and again, I'm going to start from the back. 5, 5, 5, 0. Decimal comes straight up. Now we're going to write our decimal over here, 0.555. We can refer to this. If we move our decimal 2 places to the right, it becomes a percent. So all we got to do is go 1, 2. Now it's between the second 5 and the third 5. So our percent is 55.5%. So you're going to have to do this today on the Kahoot. And I've hopefully given you plenty of time to do that. So remember, it's going to be a 2-step process. We got to do that division, turn it into a decimal. Once we've turned it into a decimal, move that decimal point to become a percent. Hopefully this will help you out, and I hope to hear that you all did really well in today's Kahoot.